We're out here on a new permission farm that I'm super excited to start introducing to everyone, but it's just one of those pieces ever since I was a little kid I wanted to get permission for, and surely enough I got permission this year, but we're just gonna get after it. We got a lot of work today, and just eager to show you guys this farm.
I feel like we're in the game for him. You know, we keep encountering this deer, it seems like almost every time we're on the farm.
Oh, I hit a limb, dude. I hit those lungs up. Oh, Steve. Hey, thank you. Thank you.
I got both my minions with me today. Just getting to this permission farm. This is a farm I introduced on a show not too long ago. It's a smaller farm in size. This is my ideal permission farm. This is textbook. And I guess a great way to start it off is, Shay, what do you realize? What do you see? Where are we walking there?
Nowhere, there's no woods.
You can't see any woods from the road. The road's about 100 yards from where we just walked to our west. You can't see anything from the road. Let's go over this hill, see what we can see. This is what it looks like. There's one deer in particular that I am pretty eager to hopefully try and find back, and I haven't named him yet. He's just a really big buck that has been on the cameras the last couple of years. He was actually probably 20 yards off my left shoulder. In front of me is where I got that picture of him. We're at the River Bottom farm today. This is the farm that I've hunted this farm quite a bit over the last few years. And I had 3 really good deer make it through that I knew of. But these 3 deer, there's 2 non-typicals on the east side of this farm. One made a really cool jump this past year. You know, he's probably 130 inch back in 2021. 2022, I don't know, he could have been in the 70, possibly 80s range. Had another non-typical over there that made it through. The one I'm probably most excited about, just because I have so much history with him, is the Beast. Casey and I had a lot of opportunities at that deer last year, but I think this next year will be in the chips for him. It might be a deer that's on the top of my hit list. So the goal today, we want to get these cameras out. I'm trying to find locations for putting vine scraping. I don't even know where my feeder's at. This tornado damage is crazy, man. Wow, I didn't realize it was this bad. We'll probably start with that mineral then. We'll go make this new mineral lick in the sanctuary part of the timber. Tornado didn't do as much damage right here. Where we're going, it did though. All right, perfect tree. Ooh, that's nice. See how far we are from our closest stand location. This is the location where hunted Hog Jr. quite a bit. 245 yards is what it said. Well, as you guys just saw, it's been a busy spring for me so far. That GQ Junior plot ended up being a great plot. We got good germination out of it. Need to get it sprayed, but this past week, Shay and I were out there. We got it fenced off just because it's so tight to bedding. You know, we don't want that food to not be there in the late season when we plan to hunt that plot. Being done on lease, I finally got everything wrapped up. It's allowed me to come back home and start working on my stuff on all these permission farms. So far, we've got a lot of cameras out this week, put a lot of tracks and cuttybacks out throughout several different farms that I think I have a good read on what's still there for bucks, but just trying to pick these bucks up, get this early intel, which is gonna make a huge difference in deciding my stand locations come fall. But where we're at right now is on Steve's farm. We're right where Hog Jr. was living, and we just got a mineral lick up here. I wanna be very specific in telling you guys that you have to check your state's laws before you go out and put any bait or mineral on the ground. You know, in Iowa, you have to be 200 yards away. You can't be hunting a trail that leads to this mineral lick. So we have to be very specific in where we put these throughout the farm. Where we're at right now, we're in the sanctuary part of the timber, so we're 250, 300 yards away from any stand that I'll be hunting this year. The sanctuary does not get hunted whatsoever. We're gonna come back in here probably in August to September, put a tarp over it, fill it up with dirt, rocks, whatever it needs to be, so these deer can't hit it whatsoever. Just so we're completely legal. So make sure before you go out, put any feed or mineral on the ground, you're talking to your county DNR. That's the best person to call, and make sure that they're okay with whatever you're doing, or just learn what you have to do it legally. You know, one deer in particular that we're really excited to get back this year and that we're hanging cuttybacks up today for is Guards. You guys saw him a bunch as I was hunting Hog Jr. last year. Really cool deer. He was a 5.5-year-old last fall. He's gonna be 6.5 come October, November this year, and we are excited to pick him back up. But we're gonna get in the meat and potatoes of what I wanna talk about today, and that's pretty much just about gaining permission. You know, summer's just around the corner, spring's finally ending here, and these farmers are starting to get out of the fields. They're not as busy as what they were a few weeks ago. You know, they've been planting, putting fertilizer on, doing dirt work in their fields. They've been busy as all get out, and they don't wanna be bothered this time of the year. But these next 2 weeks are perfect times to go out and start getting your permission, because these farmers are less busy and they're more open to having a conversation because obviously their schedules are a little more free. So I'm just gonna cover a couple things that's worked for me. You know, I kind of have the same process every time I go to these guys. I've been obsessed with getting permission ever since I was a little kid. You know, I was so bad, if I saw an elm tree in someone's yard in May, I had to go knock on the door and make sure that there weren't any mushrooms growing under it and go get permission for it. So just to cover the process, my kind of step-to-step process of going and talking to these guys, trying to get permission, I'm gonna start with what might seem a little extra, but it's a really important thing, and that's just making sure you're clean cut and presentable to these guys. You know, I like trying to wear some boots, some jeans, maybe a flannel shirt, just t-shirt or whatever. I'm gonna come, show up presentable and more inviting to these guys. You know, these guys don't know me. They don't know who I am. I'm coming to their doorstep. I'm a stranger. I want to make them as inviting to this conversation as possible. So now you're looking presentable. You're walking up to the door. You knock on the door. Lady comes out. Guy comes out. You're going to go straight into your introduction. Hey, so-and-so. My name's Caleb Greiner. I'm from Eastern Iowa. I don't live too far from here. You know, I saw you own a block of woods down the road and it looks real good for deer hunting. I'm trying to find something for myself, specifically just a bow hunt. Before they say yes or no, I'm gonna make sure I add, but you know, I'd really like to see if there's any way I can earn this permission by maybe helping you out around a farm. Maybe you have a couple field edges that have overhanging branches that you're hitting with your equipment. Can I go in there and cut those? Is there any fence that needs tightened up? Do you need any help baling hay? Stuff like that. I mean, I've even gotten permission by mowing older ladies' yards throughout the summer as well. There's many ways that you can trade work for permission. For one example, that's exactly how Gavin got his permission when he moved from Ohio to Iowa and got permission first year. So now you're at the point of the conversation where you're gonna get a yes or you're gonna get a no. And before I dive into what I'm gonna talk about if I get a yes, I'm gonna talk about what I do if I get a no. There's been several cases where I get told no, and I tell this farmer, well, hey, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for giving me the time of day to talk with me. Would there be any way that I could stop out, you know, maybe a year or two down the road and just see if it'd be okay if maybe I get permission later on? Sometimes farmers aren't giving out permission because someone's already hunting it, or other reasons as well. And there's been multiple cases where they say, yeah, sure, stop by anytime. And sure enough, I stop by the next year or 2 years or 5 years down the road and I get a yes, and I can hunt that farm. So don't always shoot yourself in the foot when you get that no and just turn around, walk back to the car, and go to the next house. Make sure you're polite, thank them for your time, and ask if you can come back later on and ask them for permission. Now on the other side of the table, if you get a yes, I'm gonna say something along the lines of, you know, thank you for your time, I appreciate it, I appreciate you giving me permission. I just wanna make sure you understand that when I'm on your property, I'm gonna respect your property. I'm not gonna block any field edges. I'm not gonna drive in the fields when it's wet out and rut your fields up. You know, is there any places where you want me to park or don't want me to park? Is there any do's or don'ts that you have for me? Is it okay if I run trail cameras? That transparency forward at the beginning of that relationship is the most important thing, because you can't just assume you can go out and throw cameras on someone's property. I mean, it's a little intrusive. So that's how my permission spiel goes. You know, it's pretty short, sweet. I know there's a lot in there. Another quick tip, try and find some kind of common ground, some way that you can relate with that individual, just to start making them feel more comfortable in that conversation. So now we're to the point of, you got permission, you're hunting someone's property. How do you maintain the permission over multiple years? You know, when I first started out, you know, I'd get permission from these guys and I'd go back, I'd stop by every year, you know, once a year, but I would lose permission on multiple places because either someone leased it or someone else that they knew better, had a relationship with, asked, and that's okay, it's their property. We should be understanding of that. Care about the landowner, create a relationship with them. A great example of this is my relationship with Steve. You know, I've known Steve for 2 or 3 years now, and as soon as I gained permission, you know, I told him, well, Steve's a deer hunter as well. And you know, I told Steve, well, Steve, would you be interested in getting on the Cuddyback app and looking at the pictures throughout the summer? And there'd be multiple times where Steve and I would talk in the mornings at 7 a.m. on our way to work or whatever. And, oh yeah, you see Hug Jr. over at the Vine Scrape at 2:03 a.m. or Guards over here at 4 a.m. chasing a doe, you know, stuff like that. Just constant ways to keep communication almost on a weekly or daily basis with these guys. That's how you're gonna create your relationship. With Steve, I'm gonna help Steve try and kill this Guards deer this year. You know, I'm gonna help him put it in the food. I'm gonna tell him what I would do and give him my cameras to help run them around the farm. I mean, this mineral, I'm not planning on hunting this farm. All these assets that I have are going in just specifically to help Steve. And stuff like that, that's gonna help strengthen your relationship with the landowner. Like I've been saying, just set you apart from the average guy. Just simple stuff like that, ways that you can benefit the landowner, because you're also getting the benefit as well by hunting that ground. So if you have any personal questions, feel free to ever message me or leave a comment on the show. You know, I've got a bunch of other permission farms I need to go throw cameras out later this week. We've done a couple blogs already this week too, just some more in-depth stuff of what I'm doing, why I'm putting cameras out this time of year, and how to exactly I put these Vine Scrapes out as well. So hopefully you guys took away some interesting tips on how I go about getting permission and maintaining permission for multiple years. And you guys can implement these next few weeks, next couple months before deer season starts, and get the permission farm of your dreams and maintain that permission for multiple years to come. Thank you guys for joining us on Midwest Whitetail. We'll see you back next week.